Welcome back to the BookCast. Today we are unpacking every layer of the incredible novel, To the Lighthouse. Get ready for a deep dive into its characters, themes, and the hidden meanings behind the story.
It's a truly monumental work, isn't it? A real cornerstone of modernist literature. That radical movement that really broke away from traditional ways of telling stories.
Absolutely. And Woolf's approach, it's all about diving deep into the inner world, right? The fragmented, subjective experience of, well, just being human.
Exactly. That stream of consciousness style she pioneered. She's not just laying out a plot. She's painting this vast, almost impressionistic canvas of inner life. You feel like you're inside the characters' minds.
Which is such a journey, and one we're thrilled to guide you through. We're diving deep into Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse, published back in 1927. It's famously structured in 3 parts.
That's right. The window, time passes, and the lighthouse.
And for this first part of our deep dive, we're really going to focus on the window. It just sets the stage so beautifully for everything that comes after.
The window really does immerse you immediately. You're right there with the Ramsay family and their quite eclectic group of gets. They're all gathered at this summer home on the Isle of Skye.
A remote, evocative setting.
Very. And Woolf wastes no time establishing this simmering tension. It's right there in the opening pages, focused on young James Ramsay.
Oh, poor James. His longing for that trip to the lighthouse feels almost desperate.
It really does. He's been looking forward to it for what feels like years and years to him. It's everything.
And Mrs. Ramsay, she's the compassionate one, always empathetic. She gives him that glimmer of hope, doesn't she? That gentle promise.
Yes, of course, if it's fine tomorrow.
Such simple words.
But for James, they ignite this extraordinary joy. Suddenly, the trip feels certain, it's real, almost palpable, a dream within reach.
But then, that fragile joy just gets shattered, almost immediately. Brutally, even.
By Mr. Ramsay, his father.
He just comes out with it, this blunt, uncompromising statement, it won't be fine.
And it's not just casual weather talk, is it?
Yeah.
Not at all. For James, it's a direct hit. A personal assault on his hopes, his whole being, really. Woolf writes, and this is startling, that if there had been an axe handy, a poker, or any weapon that would have gashed a hole in his father's breast and killed him, James would have seized it.
Wow. That's intense.
It is. It's not just a kid's tantrum, It's this profound, visceral hatred sparked by his father's personality. It sets up this deep antagonism that really marks their relationship throughout the book.
That clash is so raw. It really sets the emotional tone right from the start. And it centers so powerfully on the 2 main figures, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsay. You mentioned they're a study in contrasts, yet totally dependent on each other.
Absolutely.
What strikes you as the biggest paradox in their relationship, and how does Woolf maybe use that to comment on marriage, on long-term partnership itself?
That's a great way to put it, because Woolf reveals that paradox so brilliantly, often just beneath the surface of their daily lives. Mrs. Ramsay, she's the magnetic heart, right? This source of almost unlimited resources for everyone.
Yeah, you feel that.
But it's Mr. Ramsay, the big intellectual, who relies on her for emotional support, almost like a child, constantly needing it. She's the anchor, the nurturer. He's the philosopher needing validation.
So the intellectually dominant one leans on the emotionally intuitive one.
Precisely. That dependency is their defining paradox. And it's something I think many long partnerships navigate, maybe without even realizing it.
That's fascinating. Let's delve into Mrs. Ramsay first, this magnetic heart. She's described as beautiful, 50 at least. She had 8 children. But she has this quality. It just draws people in, creates this sense of unlimited resources.
Exactly. It radiates from her. And she has this profound nurturing role, especially with young men who are, as Woolf puts it, poor as church mice, like Charles Tansley.
Right, the awkward academic.
She makes them feel valued, agreeable, trusting, even when they're maybe prickly or insecure. And she's not passive. She has this sort of social mission, trying to get Minta marry Paul Rayleigh. It's like she sees it as her duty to bring people together, create happiness, manage the social world, maybe even a gentle manipulation, but for what she sees as their own good.
But what's really striking is her inner world. It's often so turbulent, right, compared to her calm outward appearance.
Completely. Beneath that serene surface, she's grappling with these huge, insoluble questions. Suffering, death, poverty, the big stuff.
She feels life is terrible, hostile, and quick to pounce on you. That's quite bleak.
It is. Yet outwardly, she projects this unwavering confidence, especially to her children, telling them they will be perfectly happy, even when she might doubt it herself. It's this beautiful, almost painful tension within her.
And her connection to the lighthouse beam. That's key, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. The long, steady stroke of the bean becomes her stroke. It's her moment of peace, rest, eternity almost, where she feels safe from change, from the chaos.
Like an anchor.
Exactly. This inanimate object provides the stability she craves, maybe the stability she tries to project onto the world. It's this quiet, personal ritual for her.
And those moments of exquisite happiness she feels, they aren't about big public wins, are they?
No, they're quiet, personal things.
Mm.
Bringing people together successfully, soothing your husband's anxieties, just creating that harmonious feeling for everyone.
And her practical charity work, too. Visiting widows, noting down wages.
Right. It's not just sympathy. She wants to be an investigator, engaged tangibly with social issues.
Hmm.
It shows this desire for real action against life's big problems, trying to impose a bit of order.
It's like she's weaving this comforting narrative into a chaotic world in small ways.
Mm-hmm. And that subtle lie about the Lighthouse trip,
Yeah.
just to protect James's feelings. Followed by her quiet triumph when Mr. Ramsay says it'll be wet tomorrow. She knows he understands her love without words. That speaks volumes about their unspoken language.
The deep understanding in a long marriage.
Exactly. It's a deep dive into those almost telepathic connections.
Okay, let's shift to Mr. Ramsay. He's this prominent philosopher, intellectually respected, but riddled with insecurity.
Paradoxical, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Q to R metaphor captures it perfectly. He sees his philosophical journey going from Q to R, the ultimate breakthrough,
But he's stuck.
stuck at Q, convinced he can't make that next leap. Terrified of failure, of people seeing him as a failure, he imagines himself as this doomed expedition leader whose best days are gone.
Like a brilliant scientist haunted by their one big discovery.
Precisely. And that fear of not reaching R, it drives so much of his behavior. It makes him demanding.
You really feel the impact on the family. He constantly seeks sympathy, reassurance, especially from Mrs. Ramsay. She feels it like a beak of brass, smote mercilessly, demanding sympathy.
Such a harsh image. And the children feel it too. James, we know, hated him for his exactingness and egotism. Even Cam feels coerced, kind of suffocated by him.
The relationship dynamic is fascinating, this deep, almost symbiotic dependence. Despite his intellect, he needs her for emotional sustenance, for creating that home environment.
And she believes he's infinitely the more important, maybe reflecting the times, but it's her creating the warmth, the drawing room and kitchen, set them all aglow.
They have these moments of connection, often unspoken, but also these simmering tensions and misunderstandings.
Definitely. And his habit of calling his intellectual talking nonsense. It's a defense, isn't it?
Yeah.
A way to hide his vanity, his fear of being truly vulnerable.
It's a mask. Now let's talk about this circle of guests. They bring such different energies, acting almost like a sounding board for the Ramsays.
They really do. First, there's Lily Briscoe, the artist.
Yes, the painter, always trying to capture the essence of Mrs. Ramsay, the scene, that triangular purple shape representing Mrs. Ramsay and James. It's quite abstract.
It is, and Lily's got this incredibly sharp, critical eye. She sees beyond the surface pleasantries, right into the complex dynamics, Tansley's insecurities, the flawed nature of relationships generally.
She's also challenging conventions, isn't she? Doesn't want to marry, seeks artistic truth, feels saved from that dilution of marriage. That says a lot about her desire for independence.
Absolutely. And her internal struggle is key. Finding her vision, move the tree to the middle, trying to make her art beautiful but also strong, clamped together with bolts of iron.
Mm-hmm.
She wants depth, structure.
And there's Charles Tansley, often called that odious little man.
Mm-hmm. Young, poor academic, clearly smart, exceptionally able, but just radiates insecurity. Feels despised, especially by women, sensitive about not having the right clothes, the wash leather bag for his watch.
Small details, but they reveal so much social anxiety.
Totally. And his academic work, the influence of something upon somebody. It sounds almost pedantic. You wonder if his insecurity fuels his ambition or if it's the other way around.
He's constantly asserting himself, saying, I, criticizing things he doesn't know, like the Waverley novels. It just screams defensiveness.
Trying too hard to seem superior, which only highlights his vulnerability. A contrast is William Banks, old friend of Mr. Ramsay, botanist, widower, described as smelling of soap, very scrupulous and clean.
He brings this quiet dignity, right? A grounding presence.
Very much so. And his admiration for Mrs. Ramsay is deep. He sees her unique beauty, her integrity, that line about her being like that of which she molded you. It's such a profound compliment to her spirit.
He's detached, observant, notes Mr. Ramsay's timid side, Lily's good sense. And he has this quiet bond with Lily.
Yeah, based on mutual respect, they can talk about Mr. Ramsay openly, which is rare.
And we can't forget Augustus Carmichael, the opium-eating poet.
Right. Quiet, a bit unkempt, seeking refuge. But he has this composure, this dignity. Drinks his soup calmly while the dinner party simmers around him, almost aloof.
But there's more to him. Mr. Ramsay calls him a true poet. And later, we find out his poems had unexpected success during the war.
It hints at art's resilience, its power, even in dark times.
And then the Ramsay children. 8 of them. Beyond James and Cam, who are central.
There's Prue, beautiful, destined for marriage, whose later death is so tragic. Andrew, the mathematician, whose promise is cut short by the war.
Mancy, Rose, Jasper, each with their own hints of personality. Rose's gift with hands, Andrew's analytical mind. They're not just background. They show the impact of the parents, the shadow of the future.
Absolutely. And Minta Doyle and Paul Rayleigh, their engagement is Mrs. Ramsay's project. Minta's lost brooch becomes this little symbol. Paul seems charming, but
We learn later he has affairs. Adds irony to Mrs. Ramsay's matchmaking.
it does. So all these characters come together in that incredible dinner party scene in the window. It's like a microcosm of human connection or the struggle for it.
Mrs. Ramsay is really orchestrating it, isn't she? Feeling the whole of the effort of merging and flowing and creating rested on her. Her old familiar pulse beats with this need to bring them all together.
This is where she really exerts her power.
Yeah.
And the bouffe en d'oeuvre becomes the symbol of that. The dish the cook spent 3 days on.
A triumph. It creates moments of shared pleasure, especially between her and William Banks. It elevates simple hospitality into something more.
But underneath, so much tension. Mr. Ramsay's anger about the soup, Charles Tansley's awkwardness, Lily wrestling with her painting, seeing the falseness in it all. It's bubbling right there.
Yet there are these unexpected connections, too, like Mr. Ramsay and Carmichael reciting poetry together. Luriana, Luralee.
Yeah, it creates this moment of relief and pleasure. A shared voice bridging their differences shows how art can connect people.
And Mrs. Ramsay's thoughts on marriage during the dinner. They're so honest, wanting Minta and Paul to marry, seeing it as necessary, even vital.
Despite her own complex feelings about her own marriage, that thought, this is not what we want, tedious, puerile, and inhumane than love, yet it is also beautiful and necessary. Wow.
Such raw honesty about its contradictions.
It really is. And it highlights her complex view of masculine intellect, too, symbolized by Mr. Ramsay's focus on things like the square root of 1,253. She leans on it, trusts it, even if she doesn't fully get it.
Lily's thought sums it up perfectly, feeling violently two opposite things at the same time. That's the core of it, the ambiguity Woolf captures.
As the evening ends, Mrs. Ramsay has that lucky thought about Minta marrying a man with a watch in the wash leather bag, her matchmaking sealed, and then her quiet triumph.
Feeling loved by her husband just by confirming, it's going to be wet tomorrow, no need for I love you.
It's that unspoken language again, a deep affirmation of their bond. It beautifully wraps up the window, leaving us with this rich, emotional landscape just before everything changes.
Okay, so leaving that vibrant, intense world of the window, we plunge into something totally different with time passes. It's about absence, decay, loss.
It's a radical shift. Woolf pulls back from the characters, focusing instead on the house itself, a silent witness to time passing. The first image is stark, lamps all extinguished, an abrupt end to the warmth.
It feels unsettling, that sudden shift. This downpouring of immense starkness begins, symbolizing the years passing, inescapable change. The house itself starts to decay.
Exactly. Woolf details it meticulously. Rusty hinges, swollen, sea-moistened woodwork, hanging wallpaper, torn letters. Nature starts reclaiming the space. It highlights how temporary our presence really is.
The objects left behind, a pair of shoes, a shooting cap, some faded skirts and coats, they're like ghosts, aren't they? Just reminders of the life that was there.
They're all that kept the human shape. And nature feels almost personified. The wind and sea are like advanced guards of great armies, blustering in, asking, will you fade, will you perish?
And the house can't resist. Just hangings that flapped, wood that creaked. It's vulnerable against time and nature.
But amidst all this decay, the lighthouse beam keeps going, steady, rhythmic, sent its sudden stare over bed and wall. A constant, indifferent presence against all the change. It's like cosmic time versus human time.
And the most jarring part of time passes is how the losses are revealed. Mrs. Ramsay's death. It's just dropped in, almost parenthetically.
Mrs. Ramsay having died rather suddenly the night before. It's shocking in its understatement. We find out later it was years ago in London.
That abruptness feels deliberate, like mirroring the shock of death in real life. It doesn't wait for a dramatic moment.
Exactly. It heightens the sense of time just flowing on, swallowing these huge events. Then we hear about Prue Ramsey dying too. A tragedy in childbirth, a young life cut short.
And Andrew Ramsey, the mathematician, killed in a second by a shell in the war. It's loss after loss.
Reflecting that collective grief of the war years. As the text says, everyone had lost someone these years. It's universal.
These losses lead to that phrase, the mirror was broken, suggesting the order or the harmony Mrs. Ramsey created is shattered, gone.
It reflects that broader modernist sense of a fractured world after the war. Stability feels like an illusion.
But even then, there's resilience, like Mrs. McNabb, the caretaker.
Yes, a symbol of memory, endurance, lurching and leering, singing old songs. She's almost a living ghost of the past.
Her struggle against the decay, creaking and groaning on her knees under the bed, dusting, asking how long shall it endure. She knows it's a losing battle, but she keeps going.
Fueled by memories of Mrs. Ramsey, the children, recalling Mrs. Ramsey's pleasant way, the cook being fiery, anchored in a time when things were better than now.
And when the family decides to return, Mrs. Bast joins her. They're cleaning, mopping, scouring, literally rescues things like the Waverley novels and a tea set from the pool of time.
Even George, Mrs. Bast's son, catching rats cutting grass. These mundane tasks become acts of defiance against oblivion, reclaiming something.
It highlights the gap between the family's memory and reality. They expected things as they had left them, but time changed everything.
Yeah. The section ends with Lily Briscoe and Mr. Carmichael returning. Peace had come, but it feels fragile.
You hear that grinding cart, a dog barking, hints of disturbance. And Lily waking up feeling awake but alone at the breakfast table. The void left by Mrs. Ramsey is just immense.
It sets the stage perfectly for the final section. How do the survivors grapple with these changes, find meaning now? That becomes the central question.
So we've journeyed through the window, faced the starkness of time passes. Now, in the lighthouse, the final part, we have the literal journey to the lighthouse, alongside Lily's artistic quest for resolution.
And that trip to the lighthouse, it starts with so much tension. A painful contrast to James's hopes years ago. Mr. Ramsey's demanding again, lost his temper, stormed.
Forcing the children, do they not want to go? Coercing that reluctant, yes, it's pure emotional pressure.
Heartbreaking. James, now 16, Cam, 17, still feeling coerced, their spirits subdued. Seeing him as a tyrant, James still has that internal symbol wanting to strike his father.
That deep resentment hasn't faded. Meanwhile, Lily's on shore, struggling with her painting, wanting to escape Mr. Ramsey's exactingness, feeling stuck, like a peevish, ill-tempered, dried-up old maid.
She feels pressured to give sympathy she doesn't feel, finding it horrible, indecent to her artistic self. But there's that brief moment, the blessed island of good boots.
Right, when he shows her how to tie her shoe.
A small, practical connection. A reprieve from the usual emotional demands. Shows connection can happen in unexpected ways.
So the boat finally sets sail. Mr. Ramsey, James, Cam, McAllister, and his boy. At first, Mr. Ramsey is still acting out his little drama of needing sympathy.
But then once they're moving, the sail is up. He changes, becomes perfectly content, smoking his pipe, asking McAllister about storms, reading his little shiny book.
It's a rare moment of peace for him, engaged in action, escaping into literature, away from his self-doubt.
Makes you wonder, does his demanding nature lessen when he's actively engaged, feeling forward motion? But James, he's still trapped in resentment. Sees tyranny, despotism.
Still wants to stamp out his father's influence. Yet he also sees the complexity. His father's both tyrant and an old man, very sad reading his book. That nuance is key.
It forces you to see people aren't just one thing. And Cam has a completely different experience on the boat.
Totally different. Puts her hand in the water, finds this fountain of joy at the escape, and she reevaluates her father, sees him as most lovable, most wise.
Such a contrast to James. It really shows how subjective family perceptions are. Same person, two totally different views shaped by their own needs.
And the lighthouse itself means different things. To James, it's a stark tower on a bare rock. Practical, unadorned, reflecting his own character, maybe.
And that stark detail, the boy cutting the fish for bait, throwing the still living body back. A raw reminder of nature's indifference.
The arrival is powerful too. The men waiting. Mr. Ramsey looking back at the island. Cam and James watching him, wondering, what do you want? Wanting to offer something, but he asks nothing.
And that ambiguity. We perished, each alone, or I have reached it, I have found it. But he says nothing. A silent arrival. Maybe not a full resolution for him.
While all that's happening, Lily is on shore, battling her painting, battling Mrs. Ramsey's absence, feeling swallowed up in memories, unable to move forward artistically.
Her artistic process is her journey through grief, trying to find that razor edge of balance between two opposite forces, to capture the thing itself before it has been made anything.
Seeking that raw truth. And she starts seeing Mr. Ramsey differently, too, through the symbolic kitchen table, seeing his unornamented beauty, his truth in his face now.
That's a huge shift, and her friendship with William Banks, his understanding of her art, his disinterested intelligence, that validated her path. She also rethinks Minta and Paul's marriage.
Seeing Paul's infidelities, realizing Mrs. Ramsey's romantic ideal was maybe a little false.
And feeling affirmed in her own choice, saved from that delusion of marriage, her artistic independence feels more authentic for her.
Then comes that cry, Mrs. Ramsey, Mrs. Ramsey. It's more than just grief, isn't it?
It feels like a spiritual connection. Feeling her staying lightly by her side, like a guiding presence. Memory becomes this active force, almost like Mrs. Ramsey's spirit gives her the final push.
Which leads to her breakthrough, that sudden intensity, drawing the final line in the center of her canvas.
It was done. It was finished. I have had my vision. That line brings it all together. The mother and child triangle, the tree, unity, balance, her triumph over chaos and loss through art.
A profound act of creation. So we've been through the window, time passes, the lighthouse. Let's unpack some of those hidden meanings, the bigger questions Woolf leaves us with.
Well, a huge one is the elusive nature of reality. Woolf shows us, through her style shifting between minds, that nothing was simply one thing. Reality is subjective, a composite.
Challenging that idea of one objective truth. The lighthouse itself embodies this meaning different things to different people, and Lily's struggle to paint the thing itself mirrors that search for elusive truth.
Makes you ask, can we ever grasp the truth? Or is it always filtered through our own perspective? Another key theme, the power of memory and loss.
How the past just permeates everything, especially in time passes. The house, the objects, they hold echoes.
And Lily's painting becomes an act of memory, keeping Mrs. Ramsey alive as an inspiration, transforming grief into creation. Memory isn't just passive recall, it shapes the present.
The personal losses, Mrs. Ramsey, Prue, Andrew, and the collective loss of the war. They shape everyone, but memory is both painful and a source of inspiration. Right?
Exactly. Then there's the complexity of relationships, that dance between dependence and independence, love and resentment, especially the Ramseys. It's never simple.
And so much happens unspoken. Gestures, glances, internal thoughts, Mrs. Ramsey understanding her husband without words. How much connection or misunderstanding happens beneath the surface?
Woolf suggests we're often sealed, like islands. Understanding others fully is a huge challenge.
And an art's role is central. Lily's painting is her way to find meaning, order in chaos, to make fleeting moments last.
Art as resistance against time passing, holding on to the thing is made that remains forever after. And Carmichael's unexpected success during the war shows art's enduring value, even in crisis.
Finally, gender roles. Mrs. Ramsey embodies traditional roles, nurturer, unifier, but struggles with their demands.
While Lily challenges those expectations, pursues art, resists marriage, finds her own path to fulfillment. It shows the changing landscape for women.
Mr. Ramsey's patriarchal demands, his need for female sympathy, it highlights the gender dynamics of the time. Woolf presents it all with such nuance.
Not taking sides, but showing the impact on individual lives. It leaves you thinking about all these layers long after you finish reading.
And there you have it. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us and this story. If you enjoyed it, a simple like or subscribe helps the channel out more than you know. Be good and take care.